crossbreed the albino tarantula, then it's gonna be crazy.
I do agree with that. Hello everybody and welcome to this week with another video. I'm doing Arachnoboards forums again, but this time it's gonna be a little bit different. I'm just gonna search for most controversial topics, and I just wanted to show you some of them and just discuss why is it controversial and so on and so on. I have with me today Greg again.
Hello.
Matitz doesn't want to appear in videos anymore, so we're just gonna stick with that. I also want
Not
to
true, guys.
mention
Not true.
it is true.
He's just having stuff he needs to deal with, and as
Sure,
soon as he finishes, he'll be back.
sure. I also wanted to mention that unfortunately these videos are not doing as well as I thought they would. So maybe this will be the last one. But if you guys really like it, leave some comment stuff in the comments, and maybe I'll keep it up. But yeah, most of all, it's like beginner friendly stuff that I talk about with Grega in these videos, and I can use the topics I want to talk about in different videos and maybe some more graphically shown stuff. So yeah, maybe this kind of videos will be forgotten, but I still like to record them, so maybe this is the last one. So first of all, it's the topic of my last week's video, which you edited. It's all about spermathecas. What is a spermatheca, Grega?
Hmm. As you can see on the picture, it is the little flap that the female has, and it's the reproductive organ of the female.
Yes, correct. So yes, I was mentioning, and we did insert some photos of the spermatheca in the video, but here are more of them. And this was like a thread in 2007 or 2005, and a lot of people posted different kinds of spermathecas. You can see the Raposa blondie has a different type of it, and then what's the difference between a male and a female, you can also see it in the pictures. You know, it's different from species to species, and as I mentioned, some species are only like the difference is only visible in spermatheca. So it's really important that you and I are not scientists, so we don't know the difference, but the scientists do, and that's how they can determine the difference between some species. So this is like ventral sexing. I was talking to you about this before, that I don't like to do this. Basically, this is the undershot side of some spider. I think it's some New World. And yeah, this is, you can see this on the underside, and you see the flap, so it's a female. But you can only see this with like a microscope, and then you can only see it when the female is mature. When it's a small female, you can't really spot that thing. So ventral sexing, in my opinion, not the best. uh, just do it like I did it in the last video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and you can see how to do it even as a beginner. But yeah, right now we are just scrolling through some photos and seeing different spermathecas. Uh, were you surprised by the topic we discussed in the last week's video? Because I know you don't really care about tarantulas, but you now know so much more about them than before, and it's like interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you've already explained it a few times, so it's nothing really new for me, I guess. It is an interesting process to put the molds in the soapy water to make it extend, or however you say.
Mhm.
But in my opinion, I don't know. I mean, I know it's important to collectors for sure, and people like you, and the breeders and everything. But yeah, I've also wanted to mention that these pictures look old as
Yeah,
heck, and I see that the time dates are from
it's
20 years ago.
2005.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's 21 years ago. So pictures are not the best, but a quick Google will show you But yeah, it's like going through the pictures, it's really like interesting that people even then were like, if you read the comments when I go through that, people are even then complaining and arguing about ventral sexing and everything, because even then it was a hot topic, and 21 years later it still is. So it's really interesting that the problem still persists in the hobby, and it will probably never go away because people really try to get the sex of a tarantula the easiest way, and it's not 100% sure it is then, but when you need to sell a spider, you need to sex it fast, it's the easiest way, but it's not the best. Also, I don't get why people are like photo bucketing pictures, because it's not like a copyrighted material. I don't understand.
I think it was just an old site. I mean, in 2005, I think
There
Photo
was
Bucket was more popular than ever, and probably
yeah,
people
there was
shared
not
it. You know,
not a lot of screenshots programs, I think.
yeah, it's completely different. It's
It's a
20
different
years ago,
era.
so yeah,
Oh, nice.
that's why it's Photo Bucket.
Okay, question for you and the audience at home. Can you guess the sex of this spider?
Male,
Yes, good job. How did you tell?
the long boy.
The long boy, also the legs are longer, the body is
Yeah,
smaller, and you can
that's
see
what I
kind
want to
of a,
say.
yeah, it's good job, bro. You guessed it correctly, and you can see the bulb here as well. So, you know, going through this, it's like going back in time and watching some of this stuff. It's crazy how
Yeah.
how shitty the cameras were actually, because this was like not even like microscope photos. It was actually good cameras, not even with a phone, and it still looks horrible. So yeah, 2005, what a crazy world. So yeah, we went through some stuff, and yes, of course, uh, if you have some question about ventral sexing and stuff like that, you can leave it in the comments. But I think I went through it the last in the last video. I just wanted to show you off some different type of spermathecas again, so you have a better perspective. That it doesn't have to be just antennas and everything; it can be different types. So, moving on to the second topic, I think this is a topic that was really popular because people still don't use the same stuff for tarantula substrate. As you know, you use about 10 centimeters, even 15. It depends on the species of tarantula. You use different type of substrate, and this was a poll done back in the day where people put what they use for their substrate. So what I use is, I think, potting soil, uh, vermiculite, and what is it, coconut fiber. You know what I mean, coconut husks. So
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
and
The coconut nut
yes, the coconut nut, of course.
is a giant nut.
Yes.
Play the music, editor.
It's used to play the music. So yes, okay, coconut fiber, yes, okay. So that's why it's other options. So yes, it is different from species to species, but I generally use 50% soil, 40% coconut fiber, and then 10% vermiculite. Vermiculite I usually use just because it makes soil more aerated. It's not as dense uh, with when you put water in it, because you need to keep the tarantulas hydrated and needs higher humidity. That's why I put it in, but usually it's 50-50. So peat moss, I have no clue what peat moss is. Do you know what peat moss is?
Moss. It's yeah. That's it.
Peat is
It's the moss we use for, how do you say, for our Advent, whatchamacallit.
it's not the same moss. Oh, shota. Okay, I get it. It's Slovenish, I get it. Okay, so yeah, it's that kind of substrate. But yeah, again, it depends species to species, because if you have like old world, but again, that's a problem because you have an old world that digs. Maybe you need to use a different type of substrate that is more, that can hold water better, but also use more soil, because it's better for tarantulas that dig. So it depends really, but if you have like like a species like a Brachypelma Litocatl, which is beginner friendly species, 50-50 is the best case scenario. And maybe for more fossorial species I would recommend more soil, so that it's more dense and it doesn't need to retain more water, but it retains more stability, because tarantula digs and so the tunnel doesn't collapse and everything. So yeah, potting soil is essential, and then use normal stuff. I don't know, the only thing I would recommend is don't use really like a fertilized soil, but that's that.
On to the next one.
Okay, so this was a big stuff. This dude, where is he? Was a big time YouTuber back in the day, like 17 years ago. This video was released. That's crazy. 2008. So this guy was a big tarantula dude back in the day, and in this video he talks about getting bit by a Poecilotheria species, and I wanted to show you. I think it's a horrible video, it's not good quality, but you see the difference between the first bite mark and the second one.
Yeah, I mean, his hand got swollen.
Yeah, that also, but you know, this is the scariest thing, because I was bitten by a tarantula before, but you see the difference between that mark and the second one. It's like a 5 centimeter gap, and that's the real scary thing, because that's how much like a widespread of a bite tarantula can give you, and that's scary to me, because look at that. I mean, if you want to watch some old YouTube, this is the place to go. Tarantula guy 1976, and yeah, it gets swollen. I think I talked about getting bit in the videos before. Do you remember?
Yeah, you did mention it before.
Yeah, but I
And
was,
you know, you gave good advice.
yeah, but I was bitten by a Brachypelma Bechmei, and it was like a nothing bite. It just swell up like a bee's sting, and this is like serious problem, because this is a very venomous bite, and it's from a old world Indian species, so it's really bad. You know the difference between old worlds and new worlds I was talking to you about. This is the main difference. They have more venom, and it's a bad thing. Even the fingers are swelling, even though it's a bad video, you can really see. So I will never do stuff like this. I think never post. If I get bit, I will never do a video, because it's just, I don't know, bad publicity for tarantulas. I think if you get bit by a tarantula, it's not good, because I don't know, it's not that easy to get bit, and I think just, you know, we're going through comments like handling like a old world is a stupid thing. I used to do it when I was getting into the hobby, but I would never do it again, because it's just stupid mistakes. Tarantula can like easily bite you, and getting bit by an old world can make permanent consequences. So Not a good idea, I think. As I mentioned, handling tarantula is another thing, but if you have to do it, you handle new worlds. I suggested species a few videos ago, but never handle old worlds. It's just a stupid mistake waiting to happen. For you to get bitten, it's not a good thing. So,
Mm. One more
next,
thing before
yeah,
we continue.
yes,
Does the guy still upload? Let's check his channel.
tarantula guy. I have no clue. He
Damn, look at
does.
him.
He does. Crazy. I used to watch his videos, but like uploading myself, I don't watch much of YouTube content anymore. So yeah, YouTube tarantula content. So yeah, the guy's still living. Oh, look at that intro. Oh my god. Damn.
I mean, all I'm gonna say is that this guy is a legend.
It
I like
is.
that he's
He
still
is.
uploading.
From
And also,
2008.
I oh 6 years. I know, but the last one was 4 months ago, right, or 6 months ago?
Yeah, yeah, 4 months ago. He
Oh,
doesn't
okay, okay.
upload consistently, but he still does. So.
Yeah, I mean, I see that he's talking about life. He's going a bit, he's doing other stuff. So yeah, good for him. I hope he's doing
But the
good.
intro is epic though.
Yeah, the intro's pretty cool.
So yeah, that's that. You wanted to add something else?
No, good luck to Rob. I see that that's his name.
I
So
mean, he survived, I think, because
shout out to Rob. And
shout
if
out.
you actually see this video, I hope you're doing good, man.
Yeah, I hope as well. I used to watch a lot of tarantula content back in the day when I was first getting into hobby. As I mentioned previously, when I started to get rid of my arachnophobia, I used to watch a lot of YouTube content, and exotic snares in your videos were actually the first I watched. So, thank you, I guess, for helping me get through my arachnophobia. So, next up, I wanted to talk about this topic because do you know what brown boxing your tarantulas mean?
No, I imagine boxing it like for real. Putting on the gloves and just boxing the tarantula.
Okay, kinda.
I mean, since it says brown boxing, I'm guessing you just put it in a carton box or what?
It means this smuggling animal into countries. And this is from countries, and this is
Ah,
a horrible thing because researchers, I mean, I'm gonna like show you the page where you can watch like good tarantula documentaries. But okay, so this site, Love Tarantula, is run by Andrew Smith. I've talked about him previously. He's a tarantula expert researcher who goes out to the terrain and exhibits animal in real life and finds them and everything. He knows where they are, but he has been in the researching tarantula. It's not a hobby; it's his job for 40 years. And in this video, where he talks about brachypelmas, he tells you and goes to the sites he used to go 20 years ago, and now there's no tarantulas on that hills or on that sites anymore because of the poachers. And that's why this is a bad thing. Brown bagging basically means that you take them out of their natural habitat and put them into your tarantula shops and sell them on for money. And yes, the thing is that probably some of the species like Poecilotheria species wouldn't survive without doing it, because in Sri Lanka and India it is actually illegal to uh, capture them from nature and bring them to home or whatever. But without doing that, tarantula, because of the deforestation and everything, especially Poecilotherias, wouldn't survive. So brown bagging in that case was good, but for brachypelmas it's really really bad. So that's what brown bagging means. And I know one tarantula site that probably brown bags a lot is this site.
no, not the Polish.
No, not the Polish, the English
Okay,
Polish.
wow.
So when you go on these sites, I'm not accusing anything, but buying this kind of spiders, uh, it previously had, I know it had like females or that adult spiders that were not confirmed what they were, and that's 100% poached because they get it from somewhere, but from the start, the spider was not locally bred in the hobby. It was taken from somewhere and taken to the other shop and then got to the spider shop or to the other sites. I can name you a few, but it doesn't matter with the spider shop. It's just bad thing because selling adult spiders for a lower price than they should be is not a good thing. I think they stopped doing it, but like a few years ago they still did it. And yeah, brown bagging is a bad thing because of that. So, you know, watch the Love Tarantulas documentaries uh, about that, and it's gonna tell you
Poachers.
about poachers and everything. And yeah, taking tarantulas from their natural habitat and brown bagging them across the border and selling them for profit is a really bad thing because you disturb the ecosystem and everything else. So not a good thing. I wanted to mention that because you know it's not good, and I think more people should realize that taking any animal from the nature and keeping it in your house because you love it as a pet, it's not a good thing. So next thing, do you think as an opinion by you without really going through the topics, do you think hybridization is a good thing?
If what is a good thing?
Hybridization.
Is this even a word? You mean hybrids if they're a good thing?
Yes.
So I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing for the hobby, but didn't you say that like hybrids are unconfirmed species in sort of a way?
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing, but everything. I don't know how do you say that, but everything has hybrids. Have dogs, cats. I don't know
Yes.
how to say it. What I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do agree
So
with
yeah,
that. But there's another thing that a lot of the spiders that are in the hobby or in the wild that are, I don't know, for example, Poecilotheria genus that is from India and Sri Lanka is almost extinct in the nature. And if you get the tarantulas and breed them, different species altogether, what happens?
I don't know. The old species become extinct. Is that what
Yes,
you're trying to say?
yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Hybridization is not a good thing. Uh, there was once a species, I'm gonna show you it. Okay, I talked about this previously, but this is curly-haired tarantula, Atletocatla evopilosus, and its locality, it lives in Honduras. And then there is another species of albopilosus, and it's from Nicaragua. And you can clearly see the difference in between photos. So it's not the same, but around 20 to 30 years ago, people started to sell the common form. It's not the common form, but the less hairy kind, as this form, and the species bred together and make a bunch of hybrids. And that is bad for the hobby because you don't know what spiders you're having. So, hybridization is bad. You know what I'm trying to tell you? That like if
Yeah,
you
I
if you
understand. I
breed
understand.
like the green Poecilotheria, if you breed this is from India, and if you breed this, you don't make another species, you just make a hybrid, and you can't keep a species as a hybrid. It becomes completely separate thing. And you know, maybe the spider would look cool. First of all, I don't know if the spiders can actually breed, because you know the females sense the males, but are they sending the same signals even though it's different species? And yeah, it's bad. And even in 2011 people were talking about it, because people tried to sell some spiders that were not the genus that it was. And then I think 2020-ish, uh, this genus was created because people were breeding Brachypelma species in between like the genus, and they were not sure what they're breeding. And because everything, you know, this the orange thing and the albopilosus that we looked before were the same genus before, but because people were just breeding them, like crossbreeding them all together, uh, the scientific community had to make a separate genus on its own, and so that's why Cleitocatl genus was created, because it means brown spider. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
So yes, I do agree in your
Crazy.
perspective that yes, making new species. Oh, what am I? What is that? Making a new
Hmm.
species of a dog. Yes, you breed different types of like animals, and then it creates a different type of dog. You can make a labradoodle or whatever, but it doesn't become labradoodle when you first create it. It needs years of breeding, and you know it needs to be like confirmed species by scientists. It can't just be created by pairing different type of animals. It needs to be
Yeah,
like genetically created and genetically sound animal species. You can't just crossbreed everything and hope it works out fine.
I mean, yeah, I understand, and I also wouldn't go too much into the topic because even with the dogs that you gave in as a an example, I know that there are a lot of people that see through it, and it's crossbreeding or hybrid breeding or whatever is not exactly. They don't really care. You know, a lot of animals then have genetic errors or diseases or whatever, and they're not exactly living their best life. So let's
Yeah,
not get too much into it.
I mean, if we just mention the species of dogs like mops, uh, you can clearly see that 50 years ago when the species was created, it looked completely different. Even 100 years ago, I think it was created, it looked completely different than it looks today. Like German shepherds, the species, I don't know what was created from, but it looks completely different today than it did 100 years ago, and it was like a nice animal, and now it looks sad. The
Yeah.
examples of the animal just look sad. So the thing about morphs is like you don't know much about this, and I don't know much about it either. But in like a ball python, like the snake species that is the most popular in the hobby of like keeping tarantulas, not keeping tarantula, keeping pythons, snakes. You can basically have like a different type of animal, and then you breed it with different type, and then it creates like a morph. But and like what I would say, it's still a ball python, even though it has different marks. You know,
Yeah, I
so,
understand. Yeah,
so
true.
it's still the same animal, and Poecilotherias and every tarantula that they tried to crossbreed before, and now it's like strictly forbidden. You don't really have much sellers, and I never looked at, but you don't have sellers that sell like, you know, hybrids of tarantulas. But hybrids of ball pythons are not the same for me, because it's the same like Latin name, it's the same animal essentially. So yes, maybe what I would argue is if you crossbred tarantulas of the same species that but have different locality. I'm gonna show you what I mean. So you have the orange bitey thing, but you have a dark color form which is in a different country, and like a tan color form or a red color form, which is still like the same species, but it's different locality. And maybe they'll find someday when a spider is the same like genus and basically a Latin name and everything, but they are completely different colors, because I think if you bred like orange and just a black spider, don't think that would be much interesting at all. I think it would be quite boring, because if it would work, I think people would already done it. So that's just my opinion,
Yeah.
guys. Tell me your opinion on hybrids in the comments, but I do not like hybrids at all. But I am passionate about this, so
Yeah.
that's it. I
I
think,
agree. I agree.
yeah. Do you have anything more to
The
add
only
on the
the
hybrids?
yeah, the only thing that is gonna be, I think, the only thing that's gonna be really, really interesting in the hobby is that once they discover, or once they crossbreed the albino tarantula, then it's gonna be crazy.
I do agree with that. I think that tarantula albinos would go crazy. I do think that it would look crazy. But yeah, if you look at these comments, it's just pointless blabber. They just go on and on about where you can say it. It's not the snake hobby, and just the thought I was talking about before. So the last topic I wanted to talk about, and then we're gonna end this video because it's been going on for quite a while, is should non-adults be allowed to own a old world species? And the responses are quite weird in my opinion. And do you know what the questions is about? Do you know what they mean?
Yeah, I mean, they're probably thinking that young children should not be taking care of dangerous, poisonous tarantulas.
Venomous. Yes.
Venomous.
Yes,
True.
one word means one thing for us, and we have poisonous, which is by ingestion, and venomous is by bite or by force. So that's the difference. That's why we Slovenians have problems with that.
I
So,
see.
yes. So you know that. The thing about this here is my opinion is that it doesn't matter. Option D, it doesn't matter. If you want to keep an old world, you can keep an old world. If you keep it in a good terrarium, in a good enclosure, in a good environment, and you give everything that it needs to have, like proper soil, proper height, place to feel safe, it doesn't matter what you have. Because if the tarantula is happy, it's not gonna move out of its hide. Like I got the black tarantula, the female,
Yeah.
see,
Okay.
I put her in the enclosure, and because she has a proper enclosure, I haven't seen her in a month. So if you have a proper enclosure for a spider, it doesn't really matter uh, what kind of a tarantula it is, because basically when you have it at the start, yes, you need to have like a little bit of precaution and not handle it at all. That's a no-go with old worlds, like at all. Don't do it. It's a stupid thing, because they're too fast, and if you don't expect them to be that fast, and which they are, it's just gonna go wrong. So have a catch cup, and the Petco method, the dark den method, where you have a piece of paper and a catch cup, and you release them onto the piece of paper, and then you release the cup, and they go into the enclosure without any problem. You use that method because it's the easiest. But when you have them in the enclosure, and even if they're adults and whatever, you don't really have to interact with them that much. That's why I mentioned even in the last video that tarantulas are really easy to keep, because the adult tarantulas needs a little bit of water, need a little bit of moisture, and a food source every month, once in a month. and nothing else really. So younger spiders, again slings, needs to be fed once per month, and juveniles once every 2 weeks, and that's basically it. You don't really need to interact with them, you don't need to handle them, you don't need to take basically anything with them. They're basically a pet hole which you feed and take a picture of them sometimes. But yeah, that's it. That's what a tarantula is. It's not like the most exhilarating animal or a pet at all. If you want to have like a animal that you want to handle and cuddle and everything, buy a hamster. That's it. I mean, that's why like having tarantulas and getting them and like keeping them for a while, and getting more than one of them is a common thing for a tarantula hobbyist, because having just one of them is like a boring thing. Nothing really happens. So having a bunch of them makes your life more exciting, I guess. That's why I got so many of them. So yes, proper care, a proper tarantula enclosure, and it doesn't really matter. Like comments here saying that you can get seriously injured by a tarantula. Like, yes, tarantulas do have venom that can kill up to, I think, 15-kilogram animal or a person, and it can cause like proper problems if you have like a bad heart or like a heart disease. But if you have like a proper way to move them to the enclosure and everything, it shouldn't really be a problem. So having proper care and moving them carefully when you need to move them, it's stressful for you, it's more stressful for your animal, but keeping old worlds is not a problem in my opinion. If you know what you're doing and you do your research before, and you again have proper tarantula enclosure, proper care and everything, you can have whatever tarantula you want. But again, check on the husbandry again. So that's gonna be it. Do you have any more stuff to comment on this?
Oh no, I think you have a solid point. For the end, editor, make a tarantula float from left to right with googly eyes.
Okay.
Also, slower. That's too fast. Okay, good job.
Okay, so yes guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was not the last Arachnoboards video, because I really do like to talk about tarantulas, and I go on and on about them in my videos regularly, but Arachnoboards just allow me to do that more consistently and just let me go on and on and on about them, and hopefully you get the passion I have for them as well. As I mentioned in the previous video in the vlog from Slox, so I basically mentioned that yes, my goal is that I make the tarantula hobby more interesting for new beginners and more people get them, because they are really interesting animals and they are kind of easy to take care of them. So hopefully more and more people will get into the tarantula hobby and, like me, get rid of their arachnophobia with them and the experience through them. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you like it. Leave a like, subscribe down below, leave a comment. Of course, I read every comment you post, and I'll see you guys next week with another video. Bye bye.
Goodbye.